My favorite books when I was little were these swashbuckling pirate adventure novels like Raphael Sabatini, Captain Blood, Scaramouche, the Seahawk. But the thing that really changed everything, and I've never mentioned this to anybody before in any interview, but I was quite young, I think, in my early teens when this huge movie came out, uncut, full screen, Lawrence of Arabia. And I went with a bunch of little boys and girls of that age, and we finished the movie, and the boys were going like, I really identified with him, didn't you? And I was thinking, you know, here I was living in some, I don't know where, Midwestern town, going to this boring school, never learning anything about history, geography, or whatever. And I was thinking, one day I will go and live there. You know, I just thought it. The minute they played that music and you see him racing across the desert and with camels, I just thought one day I will go and live there. And all of a sudden one day I was in the middle of the Sahara, and I realized, I mean, working on my job, and I realized they didn't film it anywhere near the Sahara. I mean, most of it was supposed to be the empty quarter, but there were also scenes that were supposed to be in wherever. And the Sahara is red. I'm in the middle of the Sahara. It's not yellow, it's not white sand, it's not gray. It's red. It's the color of bricks ground up. And I looked out over this desert and thought, well, I'm here. But there I was working on a job. I had no idea what I was doing. I didn't even know where Algeria was till I got there. And I thought, the minute my plane landed, I thought, you know, this seems more like home, because there's something about places like that are so enormous. It's not like having adventures. It's like seeing something that nobody else has seen before. I was in Algeria when the OPEC embargo was declared. And up until then, in my life, everything had been the Cold War. East is east and west is west. And everything was like this giant game going on. Here I was in the middle of North Africa, and all of a sudden there's this third factor, this unexpected move from an unexpected source, which happened to be what we used to call the Third World. They called themselves the Unaligned Nations, and they weren't just Middle Eastern nations. It was Mexico and Venezuela and everybody who was a member of OPEC, Indonesia, and they all were a third power that no one was expecting. And it seemed to me like this really unexpected move in a chess game. And so I have that in The Fire. I have her pull, our heroine, when she finally gets to play a game of chess at the end of the book, she pulls out of her pocket, her arsenal, an unexpected move that had never been played before. Taking someone by surprise changes the balance of what's going on, that we think is going on. So it's just like seeing this chess game from way above, and all of a sudden, whoom, you know, somebody brings something in that you weren't expecting, and you've got to react. Whenever our attention is diverted from here to here, we're forming new connections and able to make new connections. And this is the thing that really inspired me about chess players. In fact, there's a great book by de Groot in the Netherlands from 15 years ago or 20 years ago. Someone had sent me called Memory and Perception in Chess. And it's fascinating. They study how chess players, because of the way they're trained, have a totally different perception of the layout of a situation. And they're able to look at things from a whole lot of different vantage points at the same time, and then spotlight in their mind the one place that's different, you know? They're constantly processing what the norm is, and then they look at what's something that's different. And so that's what I do in the books. No, I don't do any outlines at all, but I do have these bubble charts that we used to call data flow diagrams in the computer biz, where you have all these circles, and each circle for me has a person in it, and they're all connected. So I had all the British part of the book, all those people were connected. So all these people knew each other, and I have this huge chart that I actually sent my editor, so he would have some idea where all these people were connected. Hopefully, each one of these little clusters of people will create a scene where they're all together in a room telling some story. Well, as it turns out, for The Fire, I had so many of these, I probably have enough of these clusters of people that I could probably do another 15 books, which I will not be doing, I might add. But the thing is that the ones that have the best stories to tell, because they had the most exciting things happening in their group, those stories emerge, and sometimes it really surprises you. And I think that those are the kinds of skills and techniques, I think, that are incredibly valuable, to be able to always be within this larger domain of time and never forget that time is always there with us, but to be able to focus on what's important within time. And I've noticed, on TV and the radio lately, people tending to panic about all kinds of things. Their voices get higher and more hysterical about everything that's been going on. Elections, it doesn't matter if it's, the economy, this, that. And they're not drawing back to get the big picture. They're not looking at the overall picture. And I think it's because we've tended to get our attention span shorter and shorter by flashing through TV channels and stuff like that. We tend to send 15 emails where one email will do, or you could pick up the phone and say yes or no, instead of everyone's commentary. And I really think that what we've done is, it's good. I mean, it's good to be able to take in large amounts of data in short bites, but you still have to be able to stop, as you said Kasparov did, and draw back and look at the whole, because after all, it's your whole life. It isn't just this soundbite or that soundbite. It's the whole, it's the whole planet. So yeah, I try to always have that focus in my books. I always try to never let people forget that it's not just the game we're watching. It's the whole context. So it's not, people are always calling it thinking outside the box. I like to do, in my books, I like to stretch the walls of the box so we're all in there together, and keep pushing them out until we can see a bigger and bigger picture.